Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here and welcome to a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video we are going to be talking about the first episode of season 15. Now that it's actually out in Canadian territories, we actually have the episode in English, so now we have a chance to talk about it. This episode is entitled A Big Splash, and like I said, this is the season premiere, if you will, of what's called season 15 right now. Could very well change later on, but as of the time of recording, this is season 15 episode 1. So like a few of my other episode reviews, we're going to be starting this off with a quick disclaimer. There will be spoilers ahead for this episode, so if you haven't seen it just yet, feel free to go ahead and check it out and then come back and watch this video. It'll still be here, so be sure to check it out once you get done watching the episode. Also, this episode is not out in all territories, so just keep that in mind as well. Let's go ahead and move on with a quick synopsis. So to summarize this episode, I would basically say this. During a mission involving a new villain, Nia's powers malfunction. Master Wu has a couple of theories in mind, but in order to be sure, he calls in the help of Rei and Maya, specifically Maya, Nia's mother, and the previous elemental master of water. So yeah, like I said, this episode is basically the big season premiere. Nia's powers kind of malfunction. We already knew that that was going to be a thing, but we actually get to see it play out in this episode. So right now what I'm going to do is break down what I thought was good about the episode and what I thought needed some work. In terms of good stuff, I really enjoyed the concept of Nia dealing with her power loss. Nia has always been kind of careful about how she words herself and how she presents herself. She's very, I guess, worried about her image, and she tries to be super confident when she can, but unfortunately during this episode, her powers just don't allow that. During a very, very important mission involving a new villain, yeah, Nia's powers don't really work out all that well, and it's kind of cool seeing what her powers can do, but at the same time, they are very destructive, and that does affect Nia quite significantly. Her character has always been about perfection and keeping things as perfect as possible, so when something like this goes wrong, it is curious to see how that affects her personally. I also really need to touch on the fact that Maya, especially Maya, she appears in this episode too, along with Rei, of course. Both of these characters will have significant roles later on, I imagine. I know Maya does for sure, but Rei, I'm not so sure. He kind of seems like the backseat guy this time. He's kind of taken the backseat to Maya, which of course is okay. I love Maya just as much as the next guy. She's cool, she's a cool character. We'll see more of her in the next episode. Also, we do get introduced to a couple little bits of new lore in this episode, which do kind of confirm some of my older theories. Master Wu kind of talks about the powers of wind and water specifically, and how they did not belong to the first Spinjitzu master, which is curious. They actually belonged to Wajira, like I kind of predicted earlier. So I kind of liked seeing that. I love seeing when my theories are correct because it actually makes me feel like I'm doing something right. So that was a lot of fun. But no, in terms of the new lore as well, I really enjoyed that. I loved seeing how Master Wu himself wasn't even sure what to do, so he calls in Maya as backup, which of course is, significant for Maya's role. I want to see more of what Maya's all about, and I want to see how this actually leads into her, I guess, developing a new relationship with Nia. Like I said, they're not super close with each other because Nia and Kai kind of grew up on their own, so it would make sense that their relationship would need a little bit more time to develop, and that's exactly what this is setting up. I also kind of enjoyed the first battle that we saw in this episode. It's not the best thing ever, but it is a very solid start to the season. We get treated to a new villain who I actually kind of like. Her name is Miss Demeanor. I get it, it's kind of funny. But no, she's cool in terms of personality. Not digging that design, honestly. I don't think the design is as good as it could be, but I don't know. Her character seemed cool, so I hope we see her later on. She seems like another one of those side background villains, kind of like the mechanic. Maybe she'll show up a little bit later, maybe not. She just kind of seems like the generic first bad guy that you fight in like a video game, for example. But no, I really enjoyed this episode overall. In terms of bad stuff, not a perfect episode in my opinion. There are definitely better season premieres, but I can't really find any faults specifically with this episode, except for the fact that I like other season premieres a little bit more. So in terms of a score, yeah, I'm gonna have to give this one a 10 out of 10. Very solid first episode. Can't wait to see where it goes from here. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video. This has been my review of episode 1 of season 15, entitled A Big Splash. Thank you very much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys very much for watching this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.